I'm exhausted from the constant back and forth. Your guilt trips are wearing me down, and I can't keep pretending everything is okay. The weight of your expectations is like a storm I can't escape, and the guilt you put on me only makes the rain heavier. I'm tired of carrying your guilt around like it's my responsibility. I have my own to deal with. When every word you say feels like a chain, I can't breathe under the weight of your guilt anymore. I've spent too long trying to please everyone, but it's exhausting. The guilt trips need to stop. I need space to heal from your guilt, to find peace again without you making me feel like I'm doing everything wrong. Guilt should never be the weapon used to control someone's feelings. I can't keep letting it ruin my mind. The guilt you place on me is suffocating, and it's time for me to take a step back and focus on my own peace. Constantly feeling like I'm the problem is breaking me. Your guilt trips are only making it worse. There's no room for healing if we keep dragging up the past with guilt. It's time to move forward, free from that weight. I can't keep pretending your guilt doesn't affect me. It's time to cut the act and face the truth. Guilt should not define our interactions. I need to stop living in a constant state of self-doubt because of it. When you use guilt to manipulate, you take away the trust we've built. I'm done letting it hold me back. Every guilt trip you throw at me is like a dagger to my heart. It's exhausting and damaging. I deserve a life without the burden of your guilt weighing on me. It's time to set myself free. The guilt you try to impose on me is nothing more than a distraction from the real issues we need to address. When will you see that your guilt is making everything worse? I need space to heal from the constant pressure. I'm tired of feeling like I'm walking on eggshells, always afraid of triggering your guilt trips. The guilt you put on me doesn't help anything. It just keeps us stuck in the same place, unable to move forward. I refuse to live in a world where I'm always made to feel guilty. I deserve better than this constant pressure. Your guilt trips are clouding my judgment, and it's hard to see the truth through the haze of manipulation. I can't keep running in circles trying to avoid your guilt trips. I need clarity and peace to move on. When will we learn that guilt isn't a healthy motivator? It only damages, it doesn't heal. I don't deserve to be controlled by your guilt. I deserve to make my own decisions without feeling this weight. Stop making me feel like I'm the one who's always wrong. Your guilt trips are tearing me apart. There's a difference between accountability and guilt. I need to focus on growth, not constant shame. The guilt trips only make things harder. I need honesty and understanding, not manipulation. If you really cared about me, You wouldn't keep using guilt as a weapon. It's time to let it go. No more guilt, no more drama. It's time for both of us to face reality without the emotional games. The constant guilt you throw at me is exhausting. I need to find my peace again, far from this negativity. I refuse to live in fear of disappointing you anymore. The guilt needs to end now. It's hard to stay true to myself when I'm constantly worried about what your guilt will do next. There's no growth in guilt, only stagnation. I need freedom from this constant emotional manipulation. Stop making me feel like my worth is tied to your approval. I am not defined by your guilt trips. I can't keep pretending your guilt doesn't affect me. It's too heavy to ignore anymore. The guilt you try to put on me is like a shadow I can't escape. It's time to step into the light. Your guilt trips are a cycle I can't keep going through. I need a way out to find peace without this pressure. It's not fair to keep making me feel guilty for things I didn't do. The constant manipulation is draining. I've given too much of myself to this, and now I'm left with nothing but the weight of your guilt. The guilt trips have to stop. They only make us more distant and hurt in the end. I'm done living under the constant threat of your guilt. I need to heal, and that means breaking free from this pattern. Every time I think we're making progress, your guilt trips pull me right back into the past. It's exhausting. Stop trying to control me with guilt. I need to make my own choices without the fear of disappointing you. I don't want to live like this anymore, weighed down by guilt. I need a fresh start, free from that pressure. Guilt is not love. If you truly cared for me, you'd let me breathe without this constant emotional burden. The more you guilt trip me, the further we drift apart. I can't continue like this any longer.